We're just gonna make. Well, here we go. Good morning. How are we feeling on this fine Tuesday? Does it? This is the start. This is the start of your last trimester or hexamester, however you want to call it. 3.2. Here we are. So the end is near. This is what we'll look at. The end is near. So that should feel like something. All right. And so, yeah, we've got some open spots. We'll have some people probably filter in as we are going through this. And but we'll fill out the seating chart because I do have to put a seating chart together and be able to submit that, all that for just in case if we got to do contact tracing and all that stuff. We know where people were sitting, all that stuff. So that's why we're doing that. All right. So here we are, trimester 3.2. We are going to pick up where we kind of left off. One thing is, for sure, is we don't have to worry about taking that IB history exam. All right, which would happen next week if we did it. All right, so that would give us just a short amount of time to do a little prep and all that stuff for it. But we don't have to worry about that piece. How does that make you feel? Get some thumbs up on that one. All right. So that just basically means your IB exam grade is going to be based on your internal assessment from last year and the predicted grades that Masaiden and I had put together for you. So that's how that's going to roll. All right. So we'll see how that plays out. By the first part of July, we'll see what the results are, and hopefully pretty good. All right, and we'll leave it at that. So for trimester 3.2, then what are we doing here is we are going to conclude the unit that we actually started, whether it was 2.1 or 2.2, or we could at the end of 2.1, 2.2, which was the authoritarians. And we had left off with Stalin, and so we'll pick up with that. And we'll do that for a couple weeks here. And then we'll conclude with a unit on Cold War, which we were going to get to that last year with History of the Americas, but we had gone to just find an open seat, okay? But COVID hit, and so we decided to change at that point. So that's really what we're going to focus on here, is those things. That'll take, in Cold War, take us to the end. All right, but we know along this journey that there'll be some days in which we'll have off because of testing and stuff like that. So we'll just make some adjustments. All right. Any thoughts, questions, concerns with that? All right. Well, we'll just roll up our sleeves and dig in here. Okay, so with that being said, I want to pick up where we left off, and that was with, I was going to start with Mao, and so we're going to do that with Mao. And so if you remember, we did look a little bit at Mao with the Chinese Civil War. And so much of the Chinese Civil War becomes kind of that platform for Mao to pick up, all right? And so with Mao's rise to power, so what we want to do is when we look at authoritarians like Mao, we want to look at his rise. We want to look at how he consolidates, what kind of policies, and then, of course, what kind of outcomes related to all of that. And so, again, his rise to power, so much is going to be based on that event known as the Chinese Civil War, and we could throw in the Sino-Japanese War as well. So from 1927 to 1949 is really kind of that platform for him. Now, prior to that, we know that China was economically struggling. It lacked modernization, so huge social economic gap there. Politically, it was fragmented. A lot of it had to do because of foreign influence, and the dynasty had been declining, and that we know we had also seen the breakout of warlordism, and a weak republic was created. And so all that, kind of creates this opportunity for some individuals like Mao, who's going to eventually be the head of the CCP, but then also Jiang Jieshi, or Chiang Kai-shek in my day, leader of the nationalists, the Kuomintang. All right. And so that civil war, again, presides that platform. And during that war, that's when Mao kind of really builds himself, creates this sweet cult of personality. All right. He hangs out with that group of individuals that I like to reference. It kind of looks like a boy band there, a nice little cover for an LP, vinyl record there. And it is during that civil war that he does jockey for position, and he emerges as the leader of the CCP. You know, remember he had to marginalize the 28 Bolsheviks, and they had just a different view of communism. They had more of this industrialist proletariat view of communism because they were trained in Moscow, where Mao is more pragmatic, and he has his base is going to be more agrarian because of the peasants. All right. And during that long march, that's where the lore and the cult of personality is formulated. And he has also began to purge individuals out of the group that may not be on the same page with him through the rectification campaign. So all these things, you know, we kind of looked at last trimester, whether it was 2.1 or 2.2 with that piece there. He created the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. That's going to be his tool to rise to power and then consolidate and maintain power. His base, of course, is the peasants. You know, he's found a connection piece with them. And, of course, his own characteristics. And by 1949, he is going to be successful with the Civil War because of maybe the 70, 20, 10 percent strategy that he had, but also because of the GMD shot themselves in the foot a number of times. So he emerges. All right, so in 1949, another communist nation is on the scene led by Mao. All right, who is, he's probably about 5'11", Mao. All right, so with that, now it's about creating the People's Republic of China, and that's our goal. That's our goal for today, is to look at how does he put the People's Republic of China together. And in order to do that, you know, that is going to help him consolidate, maintain his power. So Schoology, let's pop into Schoology here. All right, let's do that. All right. And so for those at home, you know, welcome. Glad you're on board. Feel free to put into the chat if you have any questions. But we are going to go to Schoology, and we're going to look at the Islamic creation of the People's Republic of China. All right, so it's going to have a couple. Oh, here we go. It's going to have a couple attachments to it because I'm attachment fiend here. All right. And so one of them is going to be a graphic organizer, and another one is going to be electronic file here. All right, and we're gonna, I have those also posted in the classroom just in case you want to get up, move those feet around, get the brain activated and all that stuff. So what we're doing here with this is we want to look at a variety of aspects that contribute to him consolidating and maintaining power. It's important in that he needs to and somehow begin to shape what this modern China is going to look like, and he has to revolutionize the country. And some people are going to be on board, and some people are not. And those that are not going to be on board, well, you get to go hang out in the countryside with the peasants. That's what his thoughts was. You get to go hang out in the countryside with the peasants. Another way of saying you get to go to a re-education camp. Now, if I can fast forward today, does China still have what we might call re-education camps? Yeah, they do. They do. They do. You might have heard of a group known as like the Uyghurs. They're out there in the western part of China. They've been scrutinized by the international community and human rights, and the United States has highlighted that with them as well. But they still have the campsite. All right, going back 1949-ish, 1950s here, when we look at the consolidation, you're going to look at 7 areas here, and you can see we've got some titles there. In all of these 7 areas, though, there's going to be one question that you need to answer. And, you know, what did you learn about how Mao and the CCP consolidate and maintain power? That's what we want to look at. How do they consolidate and maintain power here? So looking at consolidation and recovery, creation of a highly centralized system of party control, campaign and counter-revolutionaries, reform movement, mass movements, the 3 and 5 Antis campaign, the 100 Flowers campaign, and anti-rightist campaign. So if anything that we know about Mao, he likes campaigns and movements. Likes campaigns and movements. And he loves revolution. By 1976, I think the people in China are like, oh my gosh, have been in a constant state of revolution. Can we not just relax? You know, so 1976 is when he passes away and Deng Xiaoping takes over. And that's when Deng Xiaoping pretty much does say it's time to end revolution and let's modernize and make a lot of money. So you're going to look at that. You can work solo or with a historical buddy, but if you're working with a historical buddy, just try to maintain some social distancing. All right. Don't get really super close. Those at home, well, you know, you got the electronic file that you can work on with it. Okay. And it shouldn't take us really that long. We just want to do a quick read, get your skim on, and see how does this help Mao consolidate and maintain his power. And then later in the week, we'll take a look at some of those specific policies that he is able to put into play or try to put into practice here to create his revolutionary new modern China here for the world to be in awe of. Okay, so that'd be really our task here. All right, so you can put your responses on the graphic organizer. If you are working with a historical buddy, you can always recreate it as a Google Doc and maybe share it that way. That's up to you. But we want to make sure we have this completed when you walk through the door of my class today. All right. And so I'm going to give you the lion's share of this class period. But before I cut you loose, do we have any like specific questions about this trimester, about IB history, or about, you know, what the heck's going to be happening? Like this week, what's going to go on this week? How many days are you actually in Park High this week? You're in here 2 days, today and tomorrow. Thursday is MCAs, so we'll have an asynchronous day. So that means whatever we start tomorrow, you'll work on it. We will not have a live Google Meet. And Friday, I'm making the executive decision already. We will not have a live Google Meet. It will be an asynchronous day as well. So realistically, you are here today and tomorrow. There we go. All right. Some of you might be, in the next couple of weeks, have some big time tests because you might be signed up for some AP exams. Yeah. Anyone in here with the AP exams? Oh, yeah. All right. Monitor and adjust. So you better rest up, you know, get your caffeine all stored up, rest up, hit the weights, get ready for some AP exams. Yes. Exciting times. All right. So with that, I'll just cut you loose. Work on it. If you want, get up, walk around, take a look at it. I have duplicates of these. If you want to feel like you do that, go ahead. All right, those at home, you can either stay on, ask me lots of questions, either verbally or through the chat, or exit and have a fantastic Tuesday.